for us as men, there's a lot of pressure already. Number one,
100%.
You know, number one, that's the thing. We, you know, and also we carry big egos. You know, but can bring men's self-esteem down and lead to things like this, whether, you know, it's depression or whatever the case may be, is feeling disrespected, man. When you feel disrespected in your own household, it's terrible, bro.
I've always been a true believer in that, is that when I come home, I do not need to be at war. Especially for men, and let's keep it one, we are men of color, we're minorities in this country. Life is a little bit different when we step out.
I could be telling you, you know what I'm saying? You'd be like, oh, man, I think you're going through depression. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
You know?
Grown man.
But you're in denial because it's something you never experienced before. It's something that, you know, it could scare you.
Bro.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just a scary thought, because then you start researching things up like, oh, man, you know, this person committed suicide. This person became alcoholic. This person strung out on drugs or whatever it may be. And it's like, man, am I going to become that person?
Right.
You know, I don't want to be that.
Yeah. Again, when I was in a depressive state, I did not know it until I came out of it. And then I had the clarity of mind to look back on my situation, and I was like, I was depressed as hell.
Absolutely.
I would literally sit in my room and not move until the sun went down, bro.
Level up, break the cycle, bro, level up, love your image and
My brother, my God, they say we live, man.
Hey, we back, brother.
Back again for another episode of Destined by Design. My name is Wes.
I'm C.
Hey, yo, we got a special guest here, man. Go ahead and do the honors of introducing our homie, man.
Hey, man, I've known this dude since I was a little kid. Westgate Elementary days.
Talk about it.
It used to be him, Mike, Dominique, Cody. I'm probably missing some others, but that's just the main course. My man Leo, man. We've been talking for about, I want to say like a year now.
Absolutely.
Over a year.
Yeah.
And he had reached out to me and was like, yo, I respect what you're doing. It started like almost like that. Then we'll do a little sport talk. And then one day he just hit me up and he was like, bro, like if y'all ever do guests, let me come on. And at the time, I know we had discussed it, but we was just still trying to get us right. So I was like, I told him, I was like, yo, be patient.
Yeah.
But when the time come, we're going to revisit this conversation.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it was crazy. I think like 3 months later, I was like, yo, you ready? Because I'm coming. He was like, all right, let's set it up. We talked to him. And I never forget when we rapped in the at the bar that day, like listening to the story, it's just amazing how many people, you know what I'm saying, got a lot of things in common.
For sure.
I go through these battles low key and you don't even know, you know what I'm saying? So like I say all the time, if I can just help one, shit, I'm good. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I ain't big on, but I got my man Leo here.
Leo,
man.
welcome to the podcast.
Hey, I appreciate you guys having me.
Bro. You know, Leo, we get on this podcast a lot, man, and I always say it, man, this podcast is about not just about me and C, you know what I mean? We get on here, we talk a lot about mental health.
Absolutely.
And like my man alluded to, bro, there's a lot of people that's struggling in silence, man. And so when we met up at the bar that day, bro, your story struck me because, you know, I don't know if a lot of people understand, like, there's a lot of people that struggle and suffer from depression.
Right.
You know what I mean? And there's a lot of facts out there, my brother. There's literally millions of people that go undiagnosed every year.
Yep.
There's a lot of people that struggle with things and they don't even know why they're struggling, because a lot of times there's no good reason why people fall into depression. What I want you to do is I want you to tell people your story of depression, how it came on, but most importantly, bro, how you overcame and where you at right now.
Right. So basically, probably maybe a year and a half ago during the COVID time, you know, they cut hours, you know, finances started becoming, you know, bickering at home. Everybody's stuck. We can't do nothing, you know, dealing with the kids.
Yep.
Everything becomes so, like, congested.
Yeah.
You know, work was tough, too, because, you know, a lot of people just wrote out. It's just like, you know, it feels like I divided myself from my family slowly. You know, I wasn't talking. You know, I was always in my own zone. Then, you know, other things from my past, I kept thinking about things that, you know, I couldn't control anymore. Like, you know, losing family members, you know, traumas with bad times with my dad and things like that. And then I just started just becoming a whole different person who I didn't even know who I was anymore. I would wake up in the mornings, look at myself in the mirror, and would hate myself. You know, like, why would you want to hate yourself when you're supposed to love yourself first?
Of course.
Facts.
You know, and going through months and months, you know, arguments, feeling congested, you know, it just led to a lot of other things happening. Now, I got to the point where, my kids were getting affected. My relationship with my mom wasn't good, and I do any and everything for my mom. I pray, for her all the time. She always lives as long as she can. And my marriage failed.
Right.
Slowly. And I was so blinded by everything that was going on, thinking that, everything is good. I'm happy. They're happy. When everybody else was miserable and I'm pushing them away. Because it clouds your mind. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you have to sit there and try to think about the things, but you can't, because all you think is about, you try to be positive, but you negative, the whole time. That's all you do. You just be negative the whole entire time.
Yeah.
My relationship with God was terrible. I was smoking a whole lot to try to calm myself down, drinking. I'm not a big drinker, but I was getting on bad habits that I don't like. Yeah. Driving drunk and stuff like that, putting myself at risk and all this and that. It took to the point where I had to lose things for me to actually open up my eyes. I mean, I tried, I did the therapy thing. It worked for a little while, but I was still around the things that were not happy. And it was already basically like, my household was so divided that even being there, we was just not happy. There was like no happiness, and that's just clouds you the whole time.
Was there a point early on where you said, what is wrong with me? You had to ask yourself and you just couldn't figure it out?
Oh, multiple times.
Okay.
I would sit there and be like, what is wrong with me? Why am I being like this? Usually just a regular person, relaxed, laid back. And then it's just like bad things, just bad thoughts all the time, man. And it's just like, why am I thinking this way? You question yourself a whole lot more than anything. You're staying up till like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. When I got to go to work at like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
Mind heavy. Yeah.
What?
For sure.
I'm at work like lagging the whole time. Like, dang, man, I'm exhausted. I'm sleeping in the truck. Like,
Wow.
And next thing you know, one of my bosses come up and I'm sitting there like, dang, I'm about to get fired and this and that. And it's like, then what am I going to do? I got to look for another job.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's just it was the worst thing I've ever experienced because I had to figure out myself again.
Wow. Yeah.
I had to cut away, I had to like separate myself, not only just from my marriage, which was one of the most hurtful things, but I had to separate from that, not being around the kids every day. And then separate from certain friends. I had to cut off a lot of stuff, man.
Yeah.
In order for me to get my mind back to where I needed to be to find myself.
Yeah.
It's very hard. A lot of people don't understand that people just want to get better with, but you have to find it amongst yourself. You have to put the effort, because if you don't put the effort to overcome it, it's going to control you and it's going to lead to bad things. Not, I had bad thoughts myself. Like, I thought about committing suicide multiple times. How I was going to do it. This is the way, what should I do? And then, I would think about the good things I still had in life, and that's what started bringing me back and getting rid of some of the negative thoughts. But it's like quicksand.
Yeah.
The harder you try to bring yourself back, the more you sink. And you have to take baby steps. It's not something you're going to overcome overnight. I still I think about it a lot. I have my moments where it's still, I sink in the hole. Sure. And it's like, oh, no, man, I gotta find something else to keep my mind motivated so I can go back being, to those predicaments.
I think what you just said is powerful, man, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of people that would assume that depression happens and you get over it and then you never depressed again. Nah, it's a grind, man.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a daily commitment to you saying, yo, I'm going to choose today to not be depressed. Like, I'm going to choose today to look at the positives. And even though, like you said, there's a lot of negative thoughts that go in your mind. What I knew that helped me when I was in a depressive state is that I had to surround myself. I know you say you had to cut off a lot of friends. What did you surround yourself with to help you get out of that depressive state?
God, number one.
100%.
Communication.
Yeah.
And positivity. I surround myself with all three of those things, and I've been doing a lot better.
Yeah.
You know, I'm still a work in progress.
Yeah.
You can't get over it. You know, it hasn't even been but a few months, and I'm still going through it. But you know, I think about the things that make me happy. I found other things to keep me going, like, you know, going to the gym. You know,
There you go. Yeah.
you know, that's fine. You can find like little hobbies. You know, I'm about to try to probably start doing photography or just taking pictures or something like that. Something different, just to
man.
keep my mind busy and not to
course.
think about the negative things and not even reflect on the past, because that part of me, it's gone. I don't want to be that.
Let me ask you a question, because I'm not even going front, bro. We try to keep it 100% on this podcast.
Absolutely.
Got no choice.
When I was going through my depressive state, there was certain thoughts that I just could not get out of my mind, bro. And a lot of times, it wasn't what was going on currently. It was shit that happened in the past, and I'm talking about decades ago.
Right.
What are some tips that you can give to the people of how to get out of that ruminating, just constantly going over negative thoughts in their head? What are some tips that you can give? Was it you just getting outside and, you know, not just sitting in with yourself?
You have to find things that you like, you know what I'm saying, or try new things.
Yeah.
Because, you know, there's so many things you can do in the world. You know, just keep your mind busy. So, you know, even though the negative thoughts are going to come, you'd be like, oh man, you know, why am I even thinking this again? I already done, you know, started getting better. This don't need to, you know, whatever trauma you had in the past, it's trauma. Trauma always sticks with you.
Sure.
You know, it never goes away.
Yeah.
But you think about the bad times of that and try to make it for the positive outcome you have now.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, we're still living. You have to keep going. You need your mind to keep progressing at all times. Learn something new. Try something new.
Yeah.
You know?
No doubt.
No, I'm just like you said, like it make you think. Like you said, you could just be chilling, moving forward, and then it's those thoughts.
Yeah.
Like everything is going right, but there's something that always reminds you of, yeah, that didn't work. And and it just be having like, why am I thinking about this?
Exactly.
Like I'll give you an example, like just being on overnights. You have nothing. I work overnights now. Like you have nothing but just time.
Yeah.
So you be thinking like I should be here.
Sure.
And I know I'm going there,
Right.
but then just those thoughts of just failure, like you said, sometimes, and even with myself, I get where Leo coming from. Sometimes you can't surround yourself with certain people.
Yeah.
And I know for me, I attract certain things. And sometimes, like, just listening to you, bro, like you helping me again, because sometimes you have to make a tough decision. Everything that look good ain't always good. And just
Absolutely.
because we're all doing it don't mean it's right.
Yeah.
So in order to make that change, sometimes you got to be different and go with that different flow.
Sure.
Like we talk about it all the time, like God is definitely number one in our lives.
Have to be.
And every time we step foot in the church, it's just like, whoa. You know what I'm saying? So I will say this. I definitely get where you're coming from.
Sure.
When you have that and you surround yourself with that and the positivity and the right folks, it's like nothing can stop you. And listening to what you say, you just helped me out that quick because, like I tell these dudes all the time, like I'll text them in a minute like, yo, I'm drifting.
Right.
Because everything's going right. So I start feeling myself.
For sure.
But just listening to you, I just seen basically myself and you just gave me reassurance. You got to get back to what you know. You know what I'm saying? Your foundation.
No doubt.
God, positivity, and the right folks. And a lot of times, I don't think when you're dealing with depression, honestly, I think that's like the main key components, though. Because I know for myself, when I first wake up in the morning, the first thing I say is, God, I need you to guide me to my excellence. You know what I'm saying? Ever since I heard that slogan, bro, like it just has stuck with me. But like you said, you're dealing with so many different things. And sometimes our mind plays tricks on us. Because we see ourselves doing good. But like you said, just that one little moment can take you back to something from years ago.
And it set you back,
and
man.
you be like, damn, I'm all right, but hey, I'm thinking about that. That's
true, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think what you said, bro, that's a key component. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to, you know what I'm saying, get away from your story, but like just listen to that shit just really just thank you.
You're welcome.
You just gave me like what I know, what I've been in, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes, you know, as us being like friends and brothers, sometimes we got to be able to be real with ourselves.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And sometimes I know for me, I can get caught up in being around the wrong folks because it's what feels right.
Of course.
But it might not be the right move from where I'm trying to go.
No doubt.
And with dealing with what you're dealing with, you had to surround yourself with the right things. So I definitely I appreciate you just reassuring me just that quick. Because I tell these dudes all the time, I don't think people realize the stuff that we face quietly.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? That I don't think, like, we have such a high expectation on us as being men. And you know what I'm saying? You have a daughter. So, like, you just have to keep, you know what I'm saying, that expectation for you just waking up every morning is a win because you have to be a provider for her.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? So I don't think sometimes I don't think people realize, like, it's tough out here sometimes, bro.
Question. Did you ever feel like being a man or you being the man of your household that your significant other at the time didn't understand what you were going through?
Oh, absolutely.
How'd you handle that?
Yeah.
It was arguments because just like, Cece was explaining, for us as men, there's a lot of pressure already, number one.
100%.
Number one, that's the thing. We and also we carry big egos.
Cool.
But
bro.
the problem is like you want your own space sometimes, and women like to be clingy. They want assured, they rather talk about themselves and what they're going through and explain when you sitting there thinking about what you want instead of them coming like, oh, baby, whatever, how are you feeling today? Is everything okay? Mm-hmm. This and that, try to approach you. But a lot of times that's not it. They want you to approach them.
Right.
And it was so many arguments, man. And a lot of times I would just stay quiet, man, and be on my phone.
Wow.
Like we just live together.
Yeah.
Damn, I've been there.
Get to that point, man.
You know what I'm saying?
But
it's
it
like
does get to that. It's hard to explain depression to somebody because there's a myth that depression is just ordinary sadness, and it's so far beyond that.
It's more than that.
Yeah, it's not just you just being sad, perpetually sad, just for the sake of being sad.
Yeah, but let me ask you this. I'm gonna challenge you on something. Let's get the conversation going. Did you ever express that to her? That this is how I'm feeling. I need you to carry me right now. I need you to help me.
Oh, multiple times.
Okay.
And it wasn't, it didn't come back the same way.
Okay.
And that was another downfall.
Wow.
Because, and when that's your significant one, your wife, you're supposed to work as a partnership. We got to the point where all that stuff, all it did was just pull us apart.
Yeah.
100%. It's just a tough thing to go through, man. It's like, you just sink yourself. You feel by yourself at all times. It doesn't matter if you got your mom, your dad, whatever. You see all these young kids acting like they going through depression. It's like, you guys are just going through bullying. It's a different level of bullying now than when we went to school and stuff like that. You haven't even went to the outside real world, experience the things that happen when you're an adult for you to be to that point. You know what I'm saying? For you to sit there and say, oh, man, I'm fully depressed. It's like, what do you like? No, dude, you got pay a few bills, be in debt, sleep in the street or something, or be down to your last meal, or eating oodles and noodles or something like that. Like thinking about.
It sound like he knows something. He been through it.
He's experienced it.
You know what I mean? You got to live different aspects of life. Not everybody's given a golden spoon, man.
Sure. Yeah.
I definitely can relate to that, brother.
And there's different aspects, of depression. And that's why I said, depression can just be an onset, man. Like it could just happen. And for example, like you could come from a really good family. You can have both mom and dad in the house. You can come from an affluent family. You could have everything that somebody would want in life, and then one day you just wake up. And so, I don't want to discredit anybody's depression, but there are people that actually have tough lives that go through some things. Now, another question. Do you think that there were certain things in your childhood that contributed to your depression, and then it just somehow reared its head during COVID? Or
Oh, absolutely. I mean, going through the stuff with my dad, we came here to live with him and, have the family experience. Never was treated, never felt loved.
You're from where?
Brazil.
Okay.
Brazil.
Yeah. Shout out to Brazil.
Yeah. So you came from Brazil.
Yep.
And break that down to me again. So you said you was coming here with your pops?
My dad lived here already.
Okay.
I came here with my mom and my brother.
Okay.
I came here and, we was trying to be a family. That was the goal.
Sure.
But
American dream.
never felt like, we never felt like loved. Till this day, it's something, I still forgive him for that, for whatever, happened in the past, because I don't do it for him. I do it for me.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like that, leave my family back home when I felt like I had the best life I could live. I had everybody that loved me.
Yeah.
And then I come here, the only people that love me is my mother and my brother.
Right.
I had to start all over. I had no friends. I had to learn the language. I had to learn everything. Basically, I started a brand new life.
Wow.
you know, and then, you know, other things that contribute was like my granddad passing. I lost an aunt, you know, COVID. She was like my mom.
Wow.
You know, those type of things. And then just going through every day, my own personal life, you know, like I said, work, you know, having problems at home and dealing and feeling. And a lot of times I felt disrespected a lot of times. And that's one thing that, you know, can bring men's self-esteem down and lead to things like this, whether, you know, it's depression or whatever the case may be, is feeling disrespected, man. When you feel disrespected in your own household, it's terrible, bro.
Man, tell me about it, bro.
You know, I mean, it's like you try to be positive about so much, and it's like, no, man, I'm feeling disrespected. Like, you know, you can ask for like the simplest thing in the nicest way, in the nicest form, the simple, whatever it may be, and you're just like the little thing, and you can't even get that back, and it's like, why?
Yeah.
When, you know, you like I used to always have this conversation. It's like, look, man, I done sacrificed my mental and physical for all this.
Yeah.
And look where it led, man. You know?
It's super hard, man, because at the end of the day, and I don't know if we said it on the podcast before, man, but being home got to be your place of peace.
You say it all the time.
I've always been a true believer in that, is that when I come home, I do not need to be at war. Especially for men, and let's keep it one, we are men of color, we're minorities in this country. Life is a little bit different when we step out compared to our white counterparts. Let's just keep it one.
Facts.
We have different expectations of us. You know what I mean? We go into work, we already know what we're going into, whether we make it plain or not, whether we say it out loud or not. We know that we have to carry ourselves a certain way. And so when we come home, we literally take our armor off. Because we're just trying to relax.
Yep.
And it's crazy when you can't get that at home, bro.
And that's your kingdom. You built that.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, God had his kingdom. Or we go to his kingdom every Sunday, church.
Right.
Wherever it may be, whatever church it may be. That's your king. That's his kingdom. You know, you're a guest at his house. So you go home, that's your kingdom.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's interesting that y'all say that about your home, man. I think I was listening to Inky Johnson. And he said, I don't think people realize how much of a win and how much it feels good when you leave home and you make it back safe. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You know, it's a blessing. But then when you get home, just how you want to just be able to just relax and just, you know, enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's already, you never know when you're walking out that door. Right. And then the things you got to face.
Absolutely.
I tell people all the time. I said, like, it's just different. You got to understand, walk in my shoes.
Yeah.
Like, when you're being judged consistently just by how you look. Right. And I mean, is it right? You know what I'm saying? Nah, but it happens. But like you said, the home is supposed to be for peace. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like I told you, I used to tell you all the time, I never realized what my father used to be like on the deck in the garage. And he'd just sit there.
Right.
Silence. Like, the Joker would just sit there and, like, I'd be like, why? But now I understand. Like you said, I just want that peace.
He just wanted that peace.
Yeah. So I definitely get it, man. It's just, I don't think, like I say all the time, I'm not ever here to try to bash anyone. Sure. But I think a lot of times we have to make sure, especially when we're trying to, when we're in a relationship, a marriage, I think that's one thing that I feel like as men, sometimes we have to definitely, and especially in this stage in our life, we have to install that communication piece. Like, when we're home, we got to it's relaxed time.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? It's a time when we're in the kitchen, we can cook together. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's like, I know I always get on E, but it's smooth, like playing board games with your significant other, just something slight. But I shouldn't be in here stressing.
Right.
I shouldn't be like, why the f am I here? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, straight up.
I could have stayed at work if I wanted to deal with all that. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I think that's something as us as men, we got to establish early, though. You feel me? Because sometimes I know a lot of times, like, I remember going through my situation, I thought she already knew just because she knew me.
You assumed.
I assumed. You know what I'm saying? I assumed it. But sometimes I always say, like, you know what I'm saying? We, as us being men, we got to do a little bit better job. Like you said, communication. We got to make sure we're putting things out there. Yeah. Now, if you're not doing it, once we talk about it and break it all down,
that's on you.
That's on you.
Sure. Right.
But I want to make sure that we are at least setting the foundation, the blueprint.
Of course.
You feel what
Absolutely.
I'm saying? Like you said, you did, and it just was not working. And like I said, sometimes we will force things, and then we'll get ourselves in a situation like, damn, why we do that?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I definitely understand where you're coming from. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, Wes, the home is supposed to be peace.
No doubt.
I'm so excited in this process I'm going through right now, trying to buy something because I want that peace back. You feel me?
Absolutely.
But nah, I definitely get where y'all coming from. You know what I'm saying? But let me ask you something, Leo. Going through this process, you say you in the gym, you're putting yourself around the right components, you're doing certain things. But what do you feel is like, I know not being around your daughter full time. Is that you getting her every now and then? How's that working?
She spends about a week with her, and then she almost comes for the next 5 days. How
has that affected you? You know what I'm saying? Not being able to be there, 24/7.
From, she's my youngest. I have a 15-year-old. Me and her mom separated when she was real young. It was different because this one, the youngest one, my baby, I got to raise her a little more. Yeah. So it hurt a little more. But I feel like since this has happened, my relationship and bond has grown a lot more.
Okay.
I became a better dad.
Okay.
A better friend to her, Wow. Even though, we're not supposed to be friends with our kids, we still, have that power to get them, guide them the right direction.
Of course.
But, yeah, man, I feel that's the best thing. Like, loves me to death, man.
Do you think because of your relationship with your pops that make you want to go harder with your kids?
No, because I don't, we can't compare.
Okay.
How we're parents. Like, you might have your child, you're going to, raise your child your way. You're going to be, how you are towards your child, likewise for yourself. I'm not competing for what he did or didn't do. I'm just a different person.
That's interesting, man.
Now, I know
usually people use it as motivation. My dad won't do it, so I'm going to be there for my kids type stuff.
But I get what you're saying, though. Sure. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. I got to create my own wave. So I definitely...
Yeah, because like for me, when we came here, my dad had already lived here 7 years. When my dad left, I was 2. My brother wasn't even born yet. He met my brother here.
Right. Okay.
For the first time. And, later, like 2012 or 13, my sister was like 13, 14 years old. He went back home.
Yeah.
And never came back. And that was something I had to instill in her. It's like, there's nothing different. It's already happened before. I'm not going to use this against nobody.
Sure.
I'm just going to be the best dad that I can be for myself.
So you don't let it crutch you. Okay.
Absolutely.
I got you. Okay. Everybody has different. Okay.
No, a lot of people like to use it for motivation or a fuel the fire, but at the same time, that's something that's negative.
Sure.
You got to let that go. Oh, man, my dad was like this. He abandoned us, this, that, and the third. Okay, why can't you go out here and be somebody different? Be you.
Right.
Yeah.
Be your own man. Be your own, best husband, best dad, best friend, best coworker, best whatever, the case may be in your life.
For the sake of being best, but not just because somebody was worse.
No.
You respect it, bro.
I just look at it like anything that you have fuel, I just look at it like sports. That's the only thing that any fuel should be. Like, oh man, you were so close last year to winning the championship, blah blah blah. Now this year we're gonna go even harder. That's the only thing you can compare that to.
Sure.
Because you got to let that go. That's negative energy, man.
Hey, I definitely know something about that energy. So I never really, damn.
Nah, that was fire. That was fire.
Now that you say it makes me look at it a lot. Yeah. Because sometimes we can use things and be like, that's my motivation. But damn, I think you still thinking about it might still hold you back. So sometimes, like you say, you got to let it go and create your own.
Yeah, you just got to, you got to forgive. And that's when, like I said, God comes in the picture for you.
Talk about that, Leo, man. I'm talking about forgiveness, man, because I feel like when you haven't forgiven people in your life or people that you feel like may have contributed to where you were at a certain time. And a lot of times it's usually you hold on to a lot of negative thoughts and you start to attach people. Maybe just justifiably so, maybe it may not be warranted. But how has forgiving people helped your journey in overcoming depression?
It took the anger and the hate away, man. Mm-hmm. That if you hold on to anger and hate, you're never going to move forward.
Yeah.
You're going to still be stuck in the same thing. You're going to think about, oh, man, this person did this to me, blah. No.
Yeah.
Just let it go.
You know what, Leo? I'm going to be honest with you, bro. It took me years to get that. And I just wanted to hear it.
No, trust me. No, it was forgiving my dad was the hardest thing I probably ever did.
Yeah.
Because it was so much that I blamed him for. But at the same time, it was the things he couldn't control. Once I understood he couldn't, those things he couldn't control, and I still had to do my things for myself.
Sure.
It doesn't even matter anymore. You just gotta let it go, man, because it's all it's gonna do. It keeps anger and hate.
Yeah.
Whatever the case may be. Oh man, my dad abandoned us. Blah blah blah. You know, I'm mad at him. And then, you know, let's say 20 years later, he might come down the line and trying to be, you know, involved in your life, but he then became a better man.
Sure.
He's asking for, you know, for forgiveness. Forgive him for yourself, and then forgive the man so he can have his type of closure within his life so he can move forward.
And people change, man. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
You know, you hold on to the person that person used to be in your mind. The whole time they didn't became a better person. So while somebody in your life that you may hold a grudge against may have some ill feelings towards, they come around and they're a totally different person, but in your mind they haven't changed. So you still mad, but they done moved on decades ago.
And you know, I really was about to say that, Wes. The two things that hold us always back when we're trying to move forward after hurt is anger.
Sure.
Absolutely.
And hate.
No doubt.
And, you know, just, you know, damn, Leo, I think there's a reason why you came on this show today, because, brother, you don't even realize.
Hey, I just appreciate y'all having me here, man, so
bro,
you know, I can let people hear what, you know, what I went through. You know, if I can make a change in somebody's life, or what, you know, or they can just think about what I had to say and, you know, reflect on their life, then it does my heart good, because I'm just giving out a message that, you know, God told me to go out there and do.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's dope, man.
Yeah, bro. Man, you got me over here in my thoughts. Crazy.
I mean, that's what this podcast is about, bro. Bringing on people with real life stories, man. What's next for Leo, man? Yeah. You know what I mean? That's what I want to know.
What's next man, I mean, I got a good blessing. You know, right now I'm trying to find me a place out Fredericksburg where I live at. I like it out there. It's peaceful. You know, that's another thing that changed was my change of scenery is always good. You know,
talk about it.
Because if you're always around, you know, the same thing, you're never gonna level up. You're gonna still stay the same. You know, like moving, you know, going an hour away from, you know, I work out here. I live out here in Manassas, you know, for the longest. Like, my job was 10 minutes from, you know, my house. Now I'm driving an hour and 20 minutes every day. But you know what? I enjoy the ride.
It's all good.
I don't know nobody. It's peaceful. I get the, you know.
My man Leo positive as hell.
I'm trying to do the schooling thing, man. Yes, you know, I'm just trying to give a better life for myself, and I'm trying to give a better life for my kids, man.
That's all you can do, man. That's all you can do.
That's my motivation every single day.
I know about that peace, boy. Sometimes it's best to get away.
Absolutely.
But at the end of the day, man, listen, man, I tell my boys all the time, man, there's nothing like a change of scenery. I don't care what you say, bro. There's nothing more therapeutic than getting out of your current circumstance or your current environment, bro. Especially when you've encountered something traumatic.
And you know what's crazy? Just you gave me some confirmation, because I was doing some research last night, and a house came up, and the location.
Oh man!
I said, and I sent the text to some of my workout buddies.
Right.
I said, "What y'all think about if I moved here? Like, it's not that far from where I'm at right now.
Right.
But where would you go?" And everybody said the same thing. Like, bro, that's country as hell. But in my mind, I looked at it as, bro, that's peaceful.
Yeah.
It's away from everybody. I don't mind driving to work. I don't mind being away. Like, you can ask him, like, I don't mind it. Like, I like that.
Yeah, because sometimes, you know, you can get, you know, the therapy just riding.
Yeah.
People don't understand that. Just get in your car sometimes,
you know. And just,
you know, just. And
I wanted to circle around back to that because I think it's important. You said that you tried therapy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what things in therapy work for you, and then what things didn't? Because I'm just curious, because the thing about depression is it's not a one size fits all cure for depression. So you said it worked and then it didn't. So if you could just share what parts of therapy work for you.
Well, I was definitely offered like medication.
Okay.
And I turned that down because I look as a weak sign.
Okay.
It makes you weak, man, you know, and that's how a lot of people even get strung up on something new. Okay. You know. Meditation was probably the best thing.
Okay.
But the thing that didn't work out was still being in the same environment, man.
Okay.
That's what doesn't work. When you actually want to get therapy, you want to be in a clear thinking place where it's nothing but positivity, everything's, you know, relaxing.
Sure.
So you can get your mind right and just think think about all the good things and let all the bad things go.
Sure.
But if you're still around the same environment, it's not going to work for you.
I feel you. I think that's important, man, because I think if you're going to therapy, you're going in there to clear your mind, you're going there to try to get well, and then you come back home or to anywhere you at or wherever you lay your head in. It's a chaotic environment, bro. You're going to go back to start. You know what I mean? No matter how much progress you make in each session, I think that's real important, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think, because there's a lot of people that assume, and I was one myself, that thought if I just went to therapy, I spoke to the therapist, told him what I was going through, that it should work. But that's just not the case, man. There's a lot of things, like you said. It comes with getting out of your environment. It comes with working out and getting back in line with your spiritual well-being. You know, all things have to be clicking. You know what I mean? For you to be back on that path to wellness, and it's a journey, bro. I
mean, the first sign of it is for anybody that goes through is denial, man.
That's word.
Number one.
That's
word. I could be telling you, you know what I'm saying? You'd be like, oh, man, I think you're going through depression. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
You know?
Grown man.
But you're in denial because it's something you never experienced before. It's something that, it could scare you.
Bro. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Word.
It's just a scary thought, because then you start researching things up like, oh, man, this person committed suicide. This person became alcoholic. This person strung out on drugs or whatever it may be. And it's like, man, am I going to become that person?
Right.
I don't want to be that.
Yeah.
So you have that denial, but you're still in a negative place.
Yeah.
And until you actually accept that you actually going through this, you're going to go the right path.
You know what's funny, Leo, bro, is again, when I was in a depressive state, I did not know it until I came out of it. And then I had the clarity of mind to look back on my situation, and I was like, I was depressed as hell.
Absolutely.
I would literally sit in my room and not move until the sun went down, bro. Like, literally just sitting there.
Right.
And my mans used to always joke on me, man. And I was going through it when I was in college even, bro. Well, I would just sit on my bed. They will all go to class. They come back, cross my room. They be like, Weez, you ain't go nowhere? I'm like, nah, I'm just chilling, man.
Right.
Just sitting there, dog, in thought and time, bro, was on crack. I swear it was just going, bro. I was like, yo, I just woke up. Sun going down already? It's such a debilitating illness, and that's what I want to get across too.
Right.
Like I said, it's just more than sadness. It's not perpetual sadness, bro. It's a real illness. And like you said, man, you say medicine is weakness, and sometimes people need it.
I mean, for me, I looked at a sign as weakness, because me personally, I don't even like taking medication. You know what I mean? It's just, I mean, if it's necessary, I'll take it. But it's like, no, I didn't need it. I just needed to talk to somebody.
I would have took it because I didn't know what the hell was going on, bro.
I just think it's interesting listening to how you said you didn't realize it until it was over.
Yeah, it's crazy, bro.
When I know, like, I'm going through it, I start going at the ones I love hard. I start attacking them.
Absolutely.
I start attacking. And it's crazy, like, listening to this. Like, I know when I'm not my best when me and my mom start knocking heads.
Okay.
That's when I know. Like, she'll be like, and like lately, like in the last couple of months, she'll be like, all right, she don't cuss. She like, oh, he got some stuff going on.
Sure.
Like, she'll call it out. And it'll stop me in mid flow.
Right.
And I'll be like,
oh, she right.
She right.
Yeah.
Click back.
Right.
But it's weird when I'm going through something, or I got a lot on, like, I feel like I'm like got a lot, the weight of the world on my shoulders.
Yeah.
For some reason, that's when me and her clash. That's when I know I'm like, all right, I'm going through it. You see what I'm saying?
You know what's crazy to me, man, is I'm a firm believer that, and I don't know, I mean, Leo, you could probably tell me if I'm wrong. I feel like when I was in a depressive state, bro, I felt like I had the capacity to be both happy and hurt at the same time, where I was feeling some type of way. I was learning a lot about my family. I talked about it on the podcast real early on about my upbringing, and then just the renewed knowledge or the new gain knowledge that I was learning about my family, bro. It literally tilted me into a depressive state, one that I dealt with for years and years. Like I said, I didn't know until I got out.
Right.
But in the midst of my depression, bro, I was in a new relationship. I was happy with that. Is it possible to be happy in certain areas of your life, but in turmoil in other areas? And would you consider that still being depressed?
Yeah, because you still have your red flags. And you haven't dealt with your red flags. Sure, that's keeping you happy for the meantime, but in the long run, it's only going to affect you because you still have, maybe anger, hate built inside of you. And like, CC was saying, it's gonna lash out at the person you might love, you care for, or just trying to do good for you. They could be doing something so nice and so considerate for you, and next thing you know, you just like, man, you just lash out and just start, you know, having an argument, or you cussing, or you yelling, and you're like, man,
where that come from?
Yeah.
Like, why, what happened?
Yeah.
And they looking at you like, man, what is going on with you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They trip you out. They trip you out.
Bro, you'll scare yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
I done scared myself many a times, bro.
Yeah,
Where I done hit the roof.
Yeah, it'll
Right.
trip you
Couldn't
out.
figure it out, bro.
But I think the most important thing is you have to identify it.
Yeah.
And once you identify it, now you got to fix it.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
And that's why I said, like, yo, when I start, people are like, you know what? She might be on to something.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I got a lot going on, for some reason, it's just like, it could just be a text.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, like, it's always, that's when I know I got a lot going on.
Yeah. For anybody that's dealing with depression, man, first of all, you got to know how to guard your peace, man.
Yeah.
And once you get to that place where you have found that peace, man, you got to do everything to protect it. Like my man Leo said, sometimes you got to cut people off, man. Sometimes you got to make your circle smaller, like we spoke about before.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you got to find your third place, like we spoke about before. This podcast, man, is time for healing.
Facts.
We're gonna have a lot of people coming on telling real stories, like my man Leo coming on to just bless the mic, man, about his story of depression. But it's not even just a story about depression, man. It's a story about triumph. It's a story about how he overcame. You know what I'm saying? You guys are in the presence of kings right now.
Facts,
people
bro.
that really been through it. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Been down in the mud, but at the end of the day, we on the path to righteousness. We on the path to greatness, man. That's what we destined for. You know what I'm saying? Leo, bro, I just want to thank you, bro, for blessing the podcast, man.
I appreciate y'all having me, man.
Absolutely, bro. To everybody, if you haven't already subscribed, man, subscribe to the channel, man. Follow us on Instagram, Destined by Design Podcast. Also, go on the website, destinedxdesign.com. Get your merchandise. We got it out. You know what I'm saying? So you got anything you want to say?
You know, I always like giving them their flowers while they here.
Sure.
I appreciate you, Leo. We've been working
absolutely.
on this. We've been working on this for a minute. I told you we was gonna make it happen, my guy. We made it happen. But just let's let you know, face to face, man. I'm just glad you fighting this battle head on. And every day you wake up is a victory.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? I think sometimes we have to understand. We have to let people know that we appreciate you.
I appreciate you
what
guys.
you're doing, bro. And like I always tell people, and like Leo's showing it, man, failure is not an option.
No doubt.
I ain't got too much more to say to that, man. But I appreciate everybody on here, man. Hey, I'm your boy C.
Wes, man, my man Leo. You
man.
feel me?
We outta there.
We
Y'all
outta
here.
Peace, man.
I'm out here breaking curses, digging and feeling myself while keeping my head above the clouds and trying to stay out of a cell. Yeah, always on my grind, putting good food in my mind. Here's one for the books, like it was destined by design. Yeah, Destined by Design podcast.